Welcome to Grocery Mom Show, episode 516. Today, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can actually work on your goals this summer realistically, even with a variable schedule and everyone home. Because what I don't want for you is to get completely thrown off on the habits, the routines, and the things that matter the most to you. Because I know that you start summer with these big plans, right? You're like, I'm going to have time, so I'm going to get these things done, and I'm still going to work at the same level, and I'm still going to get this thing done. And then it's August, and you're like, I didn't get anything done, right? It's real. There's less structure, even if your kids go to camp full time, right? So my kids have had summers where they're at camp 9 to 3, just like regular school. Even if your work schedule doesn't change, there is still just less structure. I find this a lot for us at night, although I'm laughing internally because it's off season right now that I'm recording this for cheer. We have eval soon and then the new season starts up. There's like a month break in between. My daughter has 4 things for cheer this week, and I was like, it's off season. But typically, we have less at night in the summer as well, right? But then you have more social plans, more going on, right? Vacations, things get thrown off. And just, I don't know about you, but like it's hot, right? And when you have more heat, there's less motivation, you're tired, like things just feel different. Even if your schedule for you specifically didn't change, it changed somewhere, right? This episode today, we're going to talk about realistic, guilt free progress on your goals, not perfection, as we do here. Show notes are going to be at purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 516. All right. Now, summer disrupts our goals again, no matter what happens in your schedule. That just break in routine does something to our brains. I've had a really challenging year with my daughter when it comes to school. And she's wound tight, like very wound tight, getting in a lot more trouble, a lot happening, right? So the break in the routine itself from the school schedules, from the activity schedules, for me specifically, my work schedule is changing. And again, I say this with the caveat of maybe your work schedule doesn't change in the summer. So that's up to you. My work schedule will change in the summer because I'm in charge of my work schedule. But my polls that I do, they're the same. Nothing's happening there, right? But just having the kids home, whether they're home for a little bit or a lot of time, changes things. There are just more distractions because you get social invitations up the wazoo. I want to go to the beach. We start to feel jealous. I'm seeing other people doing these fun things, right? There's events, there's holidays, things like that. And then the energy thing. Pretty burnt out from this year. Not in like a traditional burnout sense, but maybe just overloaded. And we could just use some slow days. So because of that, the excitement, the motivation, all those things we had, add in the heat, we don't want to do much. So then we say to ourselves the thing that we know we shouldn't say, but we do anyway. I'm going to take the summer off and I'm going to get serious again in the fall. And I do want to say that there is benefit in taking a lighter, a different approach, just relaxing a little in the summer. I'm going to be taking a lighter approach to my summer, but I don't like to get my brain in I'm taking off or I'm going to just not be serious. Like, because then my brain is looking for any excuse to put off my goals that do matter to me, to put off the things I want to do. So, what we're going to talk about today is how do you shift from looking at progress as always completion to progress as showing up? We're going to move from all or nothing thinking to flexible consistency. And we've done a couple episodes about this consistent thing. So, I want you to go back and listen to those and think about how you can think through your minimal viable effort. It is really challenging to still go 100 miles an hour on your goals in the summer. But here's the thing about your schedule. I don't know what it is. You might actually have more time to do things, or you might want to slow down. So, what I want you to reframe for your brain is that summer is a season, it's not a complete setback. And if you're choosing to look at slow growth or maintenance, over peak performance or what we call this push season, that's okay. Now, I teach this concept of 4 seasons because I think it's important. And yes, you could look at the year divided by 4, right? Every 3 months, a quarter. But I look at it as what is my seasonality and what's my capacity. So, season one is the push season, which is what I've honestly been in January through May, is push. We've been going, it's been a lot with work, it's been a lot with kids' activities, it's going, 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 going. It's what a lot of our lives look like for a good chunk of the year. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I think it's important to acknowledge. Now, the other seasons that I like to sprinkle in, because if I don't, I will burn out, is plan. Season of plan is where you're taking a pause, you're crafting out some goals, you're giving yourself time to think and not just be reactive. Season of rest, which is what I'm so excited to enjoy this summer, is where you slow down and allow yourself to exist at a different level. And then a season of fun, where you're not just doing to check something off a box, but you're enjoying it. Some seasons can be the whole month, the whole quarter, a week, a day. But what I think is really important for yourself when it comes to your goals is to ask yourself, what is my summer season going to be? Now, when I was a teacher, my summer season was actually when I pushed with my goals. So while it was a push season for my professional life and I was working, I had the summers quote off. I worked most summer school as a special education teacher, so I worked ESY a lot. But because I didn't have my regular classes, I was able to push in my personal goals. Now that my life looks different and my schedules look different and my kids are a different age, I tend to push on all my goals and those kind of things during the year and then in the summer relax. Now, one of the things I did for myself this year was I had so much push for work and my kids' activities from January through May that I put a lot of my personal goals on a maintenance plan because I knew that if I put too much on my plate, I was going to burn out and I was going to be exhausted. So I'm actually excited this summer to push in my personal goals while maybe I'm backing up or going a bit light in my professional goals and my kids' activity goals. I'm actually going to go in a little bit harder with some of my personal goals because I'm giving myself time to do that. So you think through, what is the season you're personally entering for the summer? And it could change, right? My kids end school June 12th, right? So we still have 2 weeks of June. My kids aren't having any camp. We're just like, they're just existing, right? We're just gonna go home, we're gonna go to the beach, we're gonna relax. Those 2 weeks for me are my rest weeks, like rest fun. As we get into July, I might add in more push for my personal goals and I might change it up. So go ahead and don't feel like, oh, the whole summer has to look one way. Audit it week by week and decide what is the week I'm having. One of the things that I'm doing now is I'm batch recording my episodes for the summer, something I do every single year because I then can take podcast recording off my plate for the summer because my kids are home more and I don't have as much quiet time to record. Now, we actually got a dog yesterday. I have no idea what the noise is about to look like. I'm recording with the dog home and I haven't heard him out there. So I think we're good. But also my husband is home. So he's, not like seeking me. But I'm trying to get as much off my plate as I can so that I can enjoy the summer. That is important to note. Once July hits, my kids have a couple weeks of camp in July. Because they're going to be at camp, that's my push season for work where I'm going to get a lot of work done. So again, don't feel like you have to have every week be the same, but on those weeks where we have a flexible schedule, we have nothing. Those 2 weeks in June where there's like a couple trips planned, but we're really not doing anything, I might rest and then I might really push for a personal goal. That's something I have the option to do. All right. So thinking through each week, I want you to set summer versions of your goals. Scale those down intentionally or ramp them up intentionally. So you might say, all right, I'm writing a book. And instead of writing every single day, I'm just going to write 2 times a week. Or maybe you have more time for exercise because you're not as rushed. So I work out in the morning before I take my kids to school. I work out between like 6:30 and 7:15. My morning in the school year, it's like to the minute because I get up at 6. I do my little morning routine for a half hour. I work out. My kids get ready. I'm showering. I'm done with my shower by 8:20. We're out the door at 8:30. Like it is very tight. Well, in the summer, I might be able to get a longer workout in because we don't have to be at camp or school until later. So I want you to look through the goals that you've set for yourself for the year, and I want you to write summer versions of them. And again, maybe you make June, July, August, maybe you do week by week based on what the reality is. So this is where you're either going to scale up or you're going to scale back, and that's okay. But I want you to look at each goal separately so that you're not making blatant, this is what every goal is going to look like every week. For example, that exercise one, I can scale that one up. There's some goals I'm going to have to scale down, which might be some of those that are, attached to my quiet time or things I do solo when my kids aren't home, like my reflection, meditation, like etc. Because my kids are home. So those are going to scale back. So make summer versions of them. Don't bring them to zero. All right. Just even if you have them at 1, right? Don't bring it to zero. Even just say once a week, I'm going to do this thing instead of an hour, 15 minutes. Let it be small. And then I want you to anchor them into your day. and into the consistent, because you're not going to have a lot that stays the same every day in the summer, but you will have a couple things, right? I typically have my morning coffee about the same time. I typically eat dinner about the same time. So look through your schedule and say, what are the things I know I have? I'm going to brush my teeth at this time. I'm going to shower at this time, right? What are the things I know I have that are probably going to stay about the same time? And then anchor those things in. All right, while I have my morning coffee, I'm going to do 10 minutes of journaling. That's going to be my anchor. After dinner, I'm going to do my 10 minutes of walk. That's going to be my anchor. This way, not only are you scaling your goal appropriately, but you're telling it where it's going to fit. I also want to encourage you to use thematic time blocks, which, I will sing it till I'm blue in my face. It is the secret sauce of everything I teach because it will work, but keep them loose, right? Thematic time blocks, you can listen to tons of episodes I have on this, but really the point of thematic time blocks is not saying this is the only thing I'm doing. It's saying these are where my goals are going to live. Don't feel like you need to overschedule yourself, but instead give yourself intention. I have for myself 2 home blocks a week. So I know that's where I'm doing extra home tasks, extra things for decluttering or deep cleaning. I don't have to worry about it all the time. I know where it's going. I know where my errands block is. I did a whole episode on how to schedule out your summer. So you can go back and listen to that. But this is really important, especially for the kids. Like, this is when we're doing our activities. This is when I'm running my errands. This is when I'm getting my work done. Because what can easily happen for us moms who do have the flexibility in our schedule, like you work from home, you have your own business, things like that, is that we then put off our work goals, or we put off the things we want to work on because we want to hang out with our kids, which is not a bad thing. We want to do things with them, but you still have to work. You still got to get things done. My other suggestion when it comes to finding time to fit in your goals realistically this summer is making sure to plan around the events that you have and don't compete with them. Right now, most likely, vacations, parties, when it's going to be busy, right? So deciding in advance this is a light week, not a failure week, right? Is going to help you. The other thing that I'm going to recommend is you always create yourself what we call a re-entry day for your goals coming out of vacations, holidays, etc. So if you know that you're traveling for the week and you're coming back, the next day, don't say, I have to start everything over again. Don't say, I'm not going to do anything. Say, already pre plan. What's my re entry? What are my small steps? Finally, I want to make sure you keep your goals visible all summer. You can see if you're watching here on YouTube, I've got vision boards and things in front of my face. I've got sticky notes here. I've got Trello. Like, I keep my goals top of mind. Why? Because if it's not in my face, I'm not going to focus on it, right? What we track, we measure if we can, and we can improve on. Gentle nudges, right? It's not pressure. It's, oh, I see what I said I was going to do. Oh, I see what's in front of me. Okay. So take the goals you have for the week or the summer and put them somewhere where you're going to see them and you're going to feel them. I also want to remind you that it is summer. So balance out the fun and the discipline for yourself. There's a lot of fun stuff we want to do, and it's not bad, but it can derail us. So I will often use things like, I'm going to go read my book, or I'm going to go do this thing with the kids as like a reward for myself to just motivate myself. Like, hey, go do this thing. And then you can go read your chapter of your book outside, especially if we have a pool. My kids are going to swim in all summer. I'm so actually excited to see what's going to happen with the dog in the pool. Like, will he go in the pool? I really don't know what we're going to be doing with this pool and the dog, but I'm going to want to sit outside by the pool. I also need to get work done. So I give myself like this little game where I gamify it of like, all right, you're going to go get this one task done. Then you can go read a chapter or two. Then you're going to get another task. Reject the extreme of like, this is all work only day or all fun day, and just say, all right, I'm intentionally going to enjoy my day with whatever we have planned and try to make it a little bit of everything. Being present when you are relaxing, being present when you are with the family, being present when you are working on your goals is going to allow you to enjoy the moments you're doing it and lean into the moments that you are working on the goals, okay? You are allowed to rest this summer. You don't have to go in hard on all of your goals. But if you're intentional about when you're working on your goals, you'll feel less guilty during the rest time because you're like, I know I already did this, right? So ask yourself, what would a balanced summer feel like for me? For me, it is that I get my micro 3, which is what we call it, done for each time block. When it comes to work in particular, I have to work, right? I love what I get to do here at IPDM, but it is a job. If I didn't have it, then I would do other things with my time. But this is what I choose to do and what I'm so lucky to get to do. But that pool and that kids and the hike, it all calls to me as well. So for me, I have to gamify getting things done, or I could easily not get anything done. Okay. You decide what you want the week to look like, but make sure you're not forgetting to put time in for your goals, even if it's that minimal viable. And hey, some weeks it's going to be more than that. I don't want you to wait for the perfect days this summer because it's not going to happen, or you're going to plan it. The weather's going to be different, right? And I also want to encourage you as you're putting goals on your plate to give yourself a decompression time between when school ends and when you're like pushing a little bit when it comes to goals for you and for your kids. Everybody needs that downtime. Try not to overcommit too much because early on we always put like a ton of stuff on our plate. We're going to get all this stuff done and then by July you're like, what are we doing, right? Don't put too much on your plate in the beginning. Don't compare what you're doing this summer to what other people are doing. They're working on their goals and their own journey, and you're on yours. So, what I'd like you to do is, as we're really into summer, is think of that one goal that you made for yourself for the year, the one that you still want to accomplish, the one that's still very important to you. And I want you to decide, what is this specific goal going to look like this summer? Am I going to give it a little more time, a little bit less time? Keep it the same. Create your anchors and make your plan for this one goal. You can do it. You can enjoy your summer. You can have a good time. You can get your work done and you can work on your personal goals. Show notes are going to be at a purpose-driven-mom.com/path516. DM me over at Instagram at a purpose-driven-mom. I'd love to know what goals you're working on this summer. If you need any support or help, come over to one of my programs, purpose-driven-mom.com/club, purpose-driven-mom.com/on-purpose-you, and ask yourself, what is one small goal I'm going to commit to this week because I can do it? Have a great one.